Well, well, well. Look what the cat dragged in. Just in time for my soup. I hope you're all having a happy Halloween. Jess couldn't make it. She's feeling a little under the weather. But she did mention that she had this little thing that needed to occur when she was screaming. I mean, telling me about, her day and stuff. So I hope that you don't mind having a little substitute. I'm so sorry. I was going to try to keep this going for the entire time. Oh, welcome to Halloween. You have questions, I have answers. You have come to the right place. And we like to have a little bit of fun around here, a little bit of spooky fun. We do this every single Friday. It's a little less theatrical. We mix our energies together. We ask a juicy question of the universe, and we tend to have a pretty good time. So if that sounds good to you, we do this every single Friday. And today we have a lovely, juicy reading about what about you scares people. For instance, me in general. So Vesica Puckett. I was just saying to Alex, I'm like, what should my witch name be? And that's it. Thank you. So without further ado, let us get into this reading. What scares people about you? By the way, all of the requests or the ideas for the topic this week were really, really good. And so I'm going to do them after this, like at least some of them. I don't know what it is with me this year, but it seems like the holidays got all scrambled around because I feel like it should go Thanksgiving, Halloween, Christmas. So I'm just now getting in the Halloween mood and the Halloween spirit, even though today is Halloween. So I think next week I'll do like the boo one, like who is your boo? And I'm going to keep exploring these kind of more shadowy topics. So just, keep that in mind. I'll leave the hat. But okay, so today we actually have 2 anchor cards. So the anchor cards are not choices. They are base energies that go into all of the piles. And I believe that we read the cards together. So I'm just going to put those up there so you can get a good gander at these anchor cards. So again, these are not piles. These are not choices. So if you notice anything about the imagery or if you're getting a hit of something, now is a good time to kind of pay attention to that. Also, I moved the cat over here. This was Alex's idea because everybody always gets so much out of this cat during the readings. So my big old hat was like blocking the cat. So we moved the cat over here so that you could get a good gander. Right? Yeah, Thanksgiving, Halloween, and then Christmas. What scares me is just starting with pile 3. Oh, should I do it? No, I can't because you suggested it, and I would just be people-pleasing, and a witch doesn't do that. She eats people. Also, I got my bowl, my little soup. I'm going to put you in here. I'm kidding. I'm joking. It's just a joke. Okay, so if you're ready, let's select the piles here. These are actual pile selections. Pile number 1 is the Shapeshifter. Pile number 2 is the Thread. And pile number 3 is the Womb. So I will put those up there. And if you haven't already, by the way, I'm not drinking alcohol. I'm not. I'll show you whenever. I don't know if it is or it isn't, but this is ginger ale. Yes, it is.
No, I'm saying it's not a problem.
Oh, it's not?
No.
Oh, okay. I don't want to get in trouble on Halloween and not be able to go to the party later.
Somebody asked if you're a good witch or a bad witch. I'm like, she's the goodiest witch there ever was.
I know, but I'm a good witch that likes to play like a bad witch. Yeah. Okay. It would be great to drink with Jess. Yo, I am a good time when I'm drunk.
Be in her bowl.
I want to be in her bowl. Yo. Okay, so whenever you're ready, we'll have our moment of silence where you can be drawn into whatever pile or multiple piles because perhaps you're a scary person. Maybe you scare the shit out of people. You never know. So we'll close our eyes and then you can be drawn into whatever stack or multiple stacks you're feeling drawn to. So we'll do that now. you can open your eyes and be drawn into whatever stack or multiple stacks. Oh my gosh. Akilanda said, my parents met on Friday the 13th and I'm a Scorpio. You're like, it's my life's mission to be fearful. All right, let me just put my gloss on. I scare myself. Okay. So, if you're ready, this gloss gets everywhere. So, if it's all over my face, somebody tell me. All right. If you're ready, I'm ready. Let's do pile number 1. All right, Spirit. Oh, interesting. Okay. This is an interesting pile already. Okay, what scares people about pile number 1? This is actually a very powerful group with a very powerful energy, but it feels like a powerful hidden energy. And so people are not exactly sure. They can kind of sense it, but they're not quite sure. And I'm talking about like a personal power. And I feel like it's almost the power of like the snake here, but I'm getting it in kind of like neutral terms where, you know, snakes, they can do that like winder motion. They can move in ways that are very deft, very agile, and very unexpected. And I feel like you have this capability. You are able to do this. I'm hearing especially emotionally, but there's some kind of like hidden, it's your hidden truth and you kind of keep it true. And I'm noticing the back of this card, it almost looks like the smoke that like kind of like the smoke that we've been using here, but like this kind of puff of smoke kind of energy. And it is this like on the gradient of maroon. I just heard the song Maroon from Taylor Swift. When the morning came, we were cleaning incense off your vinyl shelf. I feel like people have memories of you, and part of what scares them is the potency of their memories of you. That's weird. So they have certain potent memories of you, but I feel like it's emotional. And I think whenever they think back on the memories, see that lightning strike there? And also see who made this card? So that's like the tower moment. Oh, okay. See who made this card? You've left your signature on something, on a memory, on their brain, on their life. But it kind of did come up in this like puff of smoke, this like kind of pink hazy smoke. So that's also telling me that I feel like there's attraction to your energy here, but it's coming across like, I think it starts off like with this light pink and then moves to this like darker maroon. And so maybe people, when they first meet you, it seems maybe light, playful, attractive, kind of maybe even frivolous, like it's going to be a lightweight energy. Because I think you're very friendly, or I just heard subtle as well. You can be very subtle in the hints that you're dropping or like the things that you're saying or noticing. And then it gets like something about it feels like weighted or kind of feels like heavy. And I feel like something about you peels back the layers and has some kind of tower moment or shocking realization, maybe about you or to do with something that you said. It actually leads to some kind of like deeper maroon energy, something heavier, something. And it could be to do with like the pinky, romantic-y kind of realms, or even childhood, something like some kind of memory. Maybe this isn't a memory that they have with you per se, but it's like something that you say or something that you said makes them realize that some kind of memory that they had that they thought was like maybe childlike or playful or romantic or something was actually something else. Like it was actually kind of deeper, darker. This is kind of giving me like, I heard, okay, so this is neither here nor there, but I heard the term oxblood for referencing a paint color. And this almost kind of looks like it. It's not quite, but I was like, ooh, like oxblood, like, you know, like I'm going to paint oxblood everywhere. Like it just felt very pagan to me. But yeah, so it's something like that where, because I'm kind of getting the blood. Oh yeah. And then the ox, like some kind of sacrificial energy or something. Maybe you kind of, there was some kind of sacrifice, or that they were being led, kind of to the altar is what I'm hearing, or to like some kind of sacrifice, or like it just, but that's an extreme word, but it brings up the kind of scare or like, fearfulness around like, oh, that wasn't really what I thought that it was. And that could be in regards of you in particular, that, I mean, maybe for some of you, it's like, oh, wow, that person's not who I thought that they were. It's not necessarily in a bad way though. It's just, there's like a depth here. I think for some of you, it could be like there's like a handful of people out there where maybe you're not the best person. Maybe you had plans for somebody. Oh, I just heard they got plans for you. Ain't nothing I can do in the law. Get them mans on you. Yeah, even paying attention. I'm just trying to get mine. Always complaining about Nike and polo signs. That's to do with like a mom thing. Or I think some people also recognize their own behavior and that they were like very lighthearted and frivolous, and that you were actually there was an imbalance here, like of you bringing some kind of like heftier energy. And for some reason, this kind of scares people about you. It's like there's a depth, there's an undertow, and and it feels like recognizing like your power or something here. And also like, yeah, there's some kind of riddle. Getting somebody tied up in knots or something. But I was saying wow earlier because I was picking up these like whole decks, and one was true emotional, and I was getting kind of the true emotional, like you reveal the true emotional realm of like their inner self. And maybe they've been trying to outrun it, possibly with like a frivolous energy, being in a frivolous energy themselves, to distract themselves, or aligning with that, you know? And this could be, again, because I'm getting with the light pinky stuff, it's like either childhood, childlike, or some kind of lighthearted romantic energy. Like, oh, I'm just trying to outrun my heavier kind of energy or something. And you have this way, or a memory of you even like has this way of kind of shifting and morphing, and they're seeing it kind of differently, or they're seeing some kind of shapeshifter energy, and that's either themselves, where they're realizing, oh, I was trying to juke and jive out of this heavier energy that maybe has to do with this tier and this riddle. Maybe somebody here was trying to solve a riddle. That could be to do with you. That could be to do with somebody else. Like, what are your true emotions? You know, why were you crying? Or why am I crying? You know, about some kind of situation. It seems like somebody here was like maybe trying to solve a riddle, but they were protecting themselves from actually I'm seeing somebody unwrapping a present now. So they were protecting themselves from that, but you have a way of accessing it. And this is either you as a person that they're interacting with in their life, or like you as a person that they met later and are like kind of having a conversation with. It even could be you don't realize that you carry this kind of, I want to say like tower energy. Not that you're trying to, it just feels like a very high vibrational energy of just truth, or like your own honesty with yourself and in your life. That raw honesty has allowed for you move through life a certain way. And it's actually very deft and very agile, and you kind of sidestep certain things that, that's another thing. It kind of scares people that you may have sidestepped certain things that this person stepped right into. And you could have been like, maybe that's part of the memory, like you were right there, but you made a different decision in regards of which way to go, or like about a certain person that they actually involved with or something. And it scares them how deep the depth. There's a depth here, like that kind of scares people, because you saw immediately, because there's something here shocking and immediate, like with the tower energy and the lightning strike. You saw deeply and immediately, either into them, or and maybe they didn't even see themselves fully clearly, or into somebody else that they kind of were like, oh, that person's not so bad, or that person's just trying to have a good time, or that person's just this, or that person's just that. And so they're kind of wondering what else you see. It's intimidating how close to the truth you are, how close to honesty you are, because you have a very good take on things, and that requires courage. So I think your courage and your bravery also scares people, that your courage to stand right on the cliff and kind of look over, you know, but also to remove at a certain time as well. It's not just one thing too, because I think for some of these people, they try to then, once they are like, oh, wow, you saw that, they'll try to kind of do that. And this is good, because this is kind of helping them learn. And it's kind of like they're following behind you in things that you've kind of maybe already mastered. The reason I'm saying that is because that quote of like, when you stare long enough into the abyss, it stares back. So you kind of know like, oh yeah, I'll look at it, but I'm not going to look at it in a certain way. I'm going to get what I need, and I'm going to keep it pushing, you know, like away from this situation. But you're very deft. And I think it comes across as a type of magic to some people, where they're like, how are they doing that? Or it seems almost otherworldly, but I just thought like, you've really got the finger on the pulse of something here, some kind of shapeshifter energy. And that's either within them, where they're trying to, maybe this is overall as their personality, where they try to shed a skin and shapeshift, and they're trying to put on a little show for you, and they're trying to get you to bite their lure of this like light pinky energy. But you know that it brings this other energy. So it could be that. Or it also could be that they try to shapeshift their way out of culpability, or like a lie in something, but you can just see it clearly. But I think that part of what scares people is you might not let on that you know, or you'll let on in kind of, I just saw somebody kind of like eating at a dinner table, just kind of like, you don't give much away in your facial expressions, but you're like, no, I'm not really interested in that. Or you'll just be like, okay. Like you're interacting, you don't give much away. And you don't give much away, not in the sense that you're complete blank, but that you're able to kind of be polite and kind of also dismissive of something that you are like, I just know. And people wonder what you know about them too. They kind of wonder what else you know. There's also, okay, bad credit, debt, unemployed. I'm kind of getting this in a karmic sense of like kind of karmic debt, love and hate. I think people are scared about what you might think of them. About like some kind of love-hate relationship here that either they have with somebody else or that they have with you, because there might have been, this could have been a situation where there's a lot of love here and this person really did not need to do all that. They really did not need to do you the way that they did you. They did not need to move and be a snake. They did not need to move in that way. But I think some people, I'm hearing that love-hate thing, but it's like they could be intimidated by you or like have a love kind of hate relationship where they love you a lot, but then they hate themselves. And then that kind of gets brought up to the surface. And so they act out like in regards of you in order to try and make themselves feel better. And so they're wondering like maybe about the karmas involved in that, or they're wondering like how you feel about them, basically, if you love them or if you hate them, or somewhere in between, because there's karma here. They have like kind of a bad debt, like where it comes to you. Married. Okay. Running. Okay. So this is a reading about like how you scare people. And so married came out. So it's like, maybe like running, married and running. So it's like commitment, maybe like, you bring out, I think you maybe bring out people's fear of commitment. You know, I heard something interesting about commitment the other day where somebody was like, a very adventurous person, and they kind of always felt like they were running. And they said to one of their friends, this was somebody relaying this story on the internet, and said to her friends, like, I think that I'm afraid of commitment. And one of her good friends that knew her very well said, what do you mean you're afraid of commitment? You're a very committed person. You are committed to your work. You're committed to your craft. You're committed to every single thing that you do. As a matter of fact, I feel like you're overcommitted. So you didn't actually, you don't want to get trapped, you know? And because you're such a committed person. So if you get into a relationship with somebody, or if you get married to somebody, you're there, like you are committed. That's conscientiousness, by the way, on the big 5 for the psychology nerds. That is that like kind of duty bound energy. So you're going to try everything before you just kind of, and so I feel like maybe you kind of run away, or you're a bit like kind of timid when it comes to actually getting involved in commitment, but it's not because you're a commitment phobe. It's because you're actually committed. You commit to the things that you do. So you don't commit easily to people, places, or things. And it's hard to kind of get your attention because you are already invested in so many different things and so many different arenas in your life very fully. So I feel like you don't really have a lot of time. So, but I feel like somebody could have been running scared of some kind of commitment, or it could be that maybe some of you are married. And so somebody could be scared of your spouse. I'm not getting in any kind of bad way. I'm just thinking this all feels very intimidating. Like it just feels like, that's very, living in the moment. Okay, interesting. Pregnancy and living in the moment. So they're scared of you because of that, somehow, some way. Or it could be that, oh, okay, I get it. I feel like maybe you bring out, I feel like you're maybe one half of an equation that spirit is using to bring out this like fear of commitment, because everything I just said about commitment with you, where it's like, if somebody here saw some kind of committed energy within you and they were like, and then like ran away from it. I feel like you're a very committed person and they picked up on that pretty readily. I actually don't think that you were ready to commit to this person. Like, I think you're kind of like, you think really highly of yourself. Like, you know, I would have needed to vet you out or something like that. I don't know. But this person is maybe scared that getting involved with you they would have to show up to their life, is kind of what it just feels like. They would be so lucky for you to want to commit to them. I think some of these people, it's like, so they could have ran right off and like, we're living in the moment and like got somebody pregnant, and now that's a lifelong commitment, you know? Whereas being in a relationship with you, it actually still allows them sovereignty and choice. So there's something mixed up and confused and twisted and confused is what I'm getting. This person has it twisted about commitment. So this is like, now they're on the hook here like over here forever, you know, basically. And they didn't get to approach that with sovereignty and with slowness, which there's a lot of respect over here. So they were intimidated kind of by the wrong thing, ran. And so Spirit is saying, compare and contrast these committed energies, right? The word committed just stood out. So as like being committed, you know, to like an insane asylum or something, because something here might make them feel crazy, or maybe the person that they're with is not well, or yeah, family, side hustle. I feel like it could even be, it could be it's like this person is scared of like solid things. They don't think about solid things as like bringing peace or comfort or stability. So this, I think some people here that when they're afraid of you, it's because you represent a committed energy, family energy, workplace energy. And so I feel like it causes this person, not that you cause this person, it just brings out like this person gets all squiggly, you know, in regards of that. And they're like, well, I don't want commitment, so I'm going to go F around and find out, basically. But then also maybe have workplace affairs or something. They kind of play around in that energy because they're scared of it. And you represent the fruits. So I don't think this is something that is actually scary in you. I think that you just represent this in some way to people. And so you're holding up some kind of mirror to their energy, They're also weirdly scared of rejection from you because I think you're seen as like the creme de la creme because of this energy, because it's like people see you as like marriage material, or for some of you, I guess it's like who you could be married to. And something like that is such a solid, stable existence, but also it feels kind of like, I don't know, fulfilling, but they know it comes with like, I'm hearing words like obligation, but that is, I think this is actually your spiritual path. So your spiritual path may intimidate people. Because this is something that you're committed to, but you're committed to yourself via these avenues. And I don't think somebody sees things the way that you see things in regards of, so they're intimidated by it, and maybe they're supposed to learn from you, where you're like, me being committed to my relationship is me being committed to myself and to developing myself. And that's something that, far from it being a burden, it's something that I enjoy and that I take pleasure in. And as you follow through on the person that you want to be, you get fruits from that. Like you get certain fruits, and that's what is great about it, you know? And the stability that comes with these things, you have real people that you can rely on, and it's not this like weird game or anything. But this person doesn't kind of think about that, or these people don't. But they're afraid of being rejected by you because you're such a great person. I think people are scared of being rejected by you. So, okay. Lone wolf. Are you really a loner, or are you afraid of loving someone who could hurt you? I think this is what you bring up in people. I'm going to read it again. Are you really a loner, or are you afraid of loving someone who could hurt you? So I think people see you as somebody who could hurt them, like in their heart space. Look, comparison. Comparing is unfair. Leave the past behind and see your new love for who they are. Some people might be scared of being compared to you. For some. Especially if you were in a relationship with somebody before or something, I don't know, stuck in the past. Let go of your ex completely so that you can truly welcome new love into your life. So yeah, there could be, and then look, not being you. You are trying to project a perfect image, but it's not really you. Be yourself. Okay, so the funny thing is, I think that people are really intimidated by you. I think more than fear, like outright fear. And so they try to project this perfect image. And they don't need to do that. You're just engaged with your path in a very real way. So I think a lot of people can project that onto you, that you're a perfectionist or that you require some kind of perfection from other people, when in all actuality, you don't. And then they get afraid of that. So there is kind of an illusion going on here of you like kind of being perfect or like having mastered everything. But I just think what they're connecting with is, I'm hearing like rawness, realness, honesty, authenticity, and something that you've been in that energy for quite a while. And it has yielded some kind of results here for you, but you have not come about it by pretending to be perfect. And so I think standing at the beginning and comparing, I heard another person, they were in their grandma's house or their mom's house or something. This was something that I don't even know where this came from, but they were like, oh, well, your house is so well put together and everything, because they were young and like, I think just newly married. And their grandma or their mom was like, well, don't compare your day 1 to my year 45, like we've built this over time, like this life and this house, and it's here for you as like some kind of stability, if you ever needed anything. But, like we've lived in studio apartments. We've lived at, we've gone through periods where we didn't really have much or anything at all. And that's all normal. And it's like a part of the path and a part of the journey. So I get that some people here who are on their like day 1, 2, or 3, they're really inspired by your year 45, kind of as a metaphor. And they want to be automatically on that level with you. And so their best way to do that puts you down a path of mimicry. Oh, okay, well, this person's doing this right now in their year 45, instead of, yeah, I'm hearing learning at the hem of the skirt, instead of asking questions of grandma. Well, what was it like when you were 25? What was it like when you were first married? How did you come up against this speed bump? But they don't want to be compared to you in some kind of way, like where they're at. And I feel like you are actually very capable of putting someone in context. I'm hearing the word unfavorable, but they don't want to be put in context. They hope that you can put them in context, or that they've been on like a different path or a different journey. So there's kind of a risk here of like, are you going to take the superficial lessons away from this or not? And so I think they're intimidated by that. Hold on. You must release old ties in order to have a fresh start with someone new. So I think you represent maybe a fresh start or a new path or a new opening or a new way to be. But I think people have to figure out the riddle of themselves first. And that's what they're most scared of, is figuring out the riddle of themselves, or a riddle of like maybe a marriage, or why they ran away from something, or why they do run away from commitment. So if this person ran away from you, or if you've had this happen in your life, I just heard runaway bride. If you've had this happen in your life, I feel like it's somebody, they have to figure out why they're afraid of commitment, or like a stable committed energy, and what that represents to them, because it's not true. Whatever it is, it's not true. They have this false belief around it that, oh, it's just drudgery. All it is obligation. But it's because they don't connect with it from the right point. They don't connect with partnership via individuality, kind of a thing. Or they don't connect with their career from a place of that, like, well, how can I bring, I'm on my journey. Everything here is, an ability for me to kind of connect with that and bring that out. And I need to interact with other people in order to be able to learn about myself and heal myself. And I need to interact with other people, not just on a Libran turn either, because I kind of get that you're not Libran with a lot of people, or with a lot of people that are afraid of you anyways. You're kind of further along, you're further progressed in some kind of way, because I think they view you as being above them, but you don't view yourself as being above them. I think that you have a very grounded, very pragmatic realization of, I'm on year 45 and you're on year 1. Don't let that stop you from taking the first couple steps. Look at me. It's a very rewarding journey. You should take steps 1, 2, and 3. Don't take steps 42, 43, 44. That's what I'm on. You're going to fuck yourself up, with love. And I'm not condescending and I'm not talking down to you. I'm just saying I've been there. And so there has to be a certain level of respect here. So for some, I think it maybe intimidates them to show you deference or some kind of respect for some reason. And that could be because they have things that karmically they're working through. Maybe you're younger than them, or maybe you are of a certain group that they're not used to having reverence or respect for because of their culture or something like that. But, eye candy. Yeah. And that goes back to this kind of pinky energy. So because they're used to maybe looking at you as eye candy, it says beauty fades, choose someone for their inner beauty and personality. So I think maybe they're scared of doing that, or maybe, I don't know, somehow that ties into it. And I feel like you'll kind of know, because it's either maybe this person's trying to dazzle you with their like eye candy, and you're like, I want actually depth. Somebody that ties into like rejection maybe, or maybe you're trying to tell these people not to focus on the way that something looks, the way that they look, the way that somebody else looks, and to focus on like what's real or something. But all of this is really intimidating, because I feel like something about your energy does pose a question to somebody else of like authenticity. Who do you want to be? Have you actually been living authentically? Now that you see something else, wisdom, there's a Carl Jung quote about comparison, or like the comparing of opposites, and like discerning between opposites, that allows for nuance to emerge and allows for wisdom to emerge. And I feel like you're that for a lot of people, where they've been kind of, and maybe that's this tower energy too, like you're kind of meant to scare people. For some of you, that is maybe your path or your journey, is you're meant to kind of shock somebody out of their illusion of a certain path that they're on, and to say, look, do you want to do something different? Can you kind of, I'm hearing like you offer what, okay. So what scares people about you is you give them a glimpse into their future. But I think so there's something like where you are, where it's like they know what it takes to kind of get to where you are. Kind of subconsciously, they see certain traits in you, and they kind of know that it's missing in them, or that it's missing in their partner, or that it's void in their life. And so I think they see, oh, that's where I wanted to end up. And I think there's some kind of intuitive subconscious knowing of like, okay, you know you're on the wrong track now, don't you? You know you're on the wrong track. So what are you going to do with that information? So this is like kind of an intimidation sort of a thing. Or some of you might work in a field where quite literally you're noticing that we've got to bolster this or we've got to bolster that. Or the results aren't going to be what you think they're going to be. And so that can be like very intimidating, and it makes people scared because they want to hide some kind of truth. It makes them feel comfortable. We've all been there. It feels comfortable sometimes to hide a certain truth from ourselves, or to just be like, well, I do kind of know that I need to look at that, and I'm proud of myself for realizing it, but I'm not going to look at it just yet. And I'm going to keep it buried. I'm going to have it remain hidden. So there's something here maybe about you where you're like, and I don't think this is maybe necessarily something that you say or do. I mean, for some of you, that will be the case. But I think it's kind of this like wake up call kind of energy. I hide behind material things. Yeah. I think for some of you, that's something that scares people about you. Yeah, my life is not as together as it seems. This is the mirror that you kind of hold up. And you don't mean to. Because I think this is you just trying. And I also just heard like, you are, okay, so this group, I just want to say that you are not the way that a lot of people paint you in their heads. Because I feel like they make you into some kind of statue. And to kind of be like, oh, wow, that is like, it's stone. It's like not organic and alive. So because I just heard you say in my mind, like, okay, so there's this prayer that says like, grace be to my teachers. Like everything that I am is a product of everyone who's bothered to teach me anything, whether that is 3 + 3 is 6, or whether that is some kind of like higher truth that really like I folded in. I couldn't have understood that truth if I couldn't first speak English or whatever language, that truth is being communicated in. So grace be to my teachers. Like I am what I am because of my teachers. And I think that you just recognize that you are an amalgamation of everybody who has so graciously taken the time to pour into you and help explain something to you, or shown you what worked for them in whatever, like overtly or in a way that you could just observe in your close proximity. And that's, I think, a bigger truth that you have to kind of show people, instead of this is all me and I am excellent and I always know the right way. But I think people can kind of make you into that and then be afraid of that. And I just heard from the Bible, the like, don't worship any statues kind of a thing. The like, don't worship a false god. Like some people might kind of make you into a bit of a false god. I'm not like emphasizing the God part, but it's like some kind of like higher being that never makes a mistake, or that hasn't made a mistake, or that any wisdom you gained, it must be because you knew it right off the bat, not because you fell face first into a mud puddle, got dragged a little ways, stood up, fell again on your ass. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, I think something here to do with that. But also, I feel like you've shed some skins. You are very resilient. And you have like the ability to kind of turn things around. So yeah, I think that is how and why people are afraid of you. Pile number 1. So I think I'm going to leave that there. Yay. I love how pleasant this is. You're scary because you're not a butthead. Yes. Then assume I see myself that way. Then held to higher expectations. Yeah. Like if you fall off the pedestal, it's burn the witch. Burn the witch. Okay. So we'll just compassion this space. Compassion. Looks like that cat is like judging my hat so hard. It's like, ugh, it's so big.
That cat is over your bullshit.
Probably. I'm just going to take a minute. I'm going to put this on. My gloss. I got to stay in character here. Pants off Friday. Pants party, dance party. It was this date, wasn't it? Many years ago. When Alexander Puckett started a pants party, dance party, a pants off party, because he was a pumpkin for Halloween. And we'd all been drinking a little bit, partying a little bit, and a lot of bit. It's late in the night, and all of a sudden I'm like, I'm kind of getting ready to go, you know? And I look up, I'm like, where's Alex go? And I see this man. I hear, pumpkins don't wear pants. He's shouting at the top of his lungs. I look across the darkened, hazy room, and Alex is legit leading a conga line of pantsless people. People are taking off their pants, and they're getting up on the stage, and they're doing a conga line like over the stage, and then the stage kind of came out. It looked like a T, and like came out, and then they were all jumping off the end of the stage doing like a pose or something. And I was like, that one's mine. That one's mine. And we had just started dating, and one of my friends, he was gay, and he just looks at me and goes, good for you. It was great. It was a great memory. Look, I'm going to show you this. Non-alcoholic. In case you don't believe me, it's extra non-alcoholic. So there's not a drop of booze in this. Okay. Lead a crowd of pantsless wasted conga. Oh, yep. Okay. So I'm just going to throw this back up here. If you've just joined us, you've joined us at a great time. We just finished pile number 1. We're getting ready to move on to pile number 2, which is the thread. I just heard needle and a thread, gotta get you out of my head. Needle and a thread, gonna wind up dead. Needle and a thread. You don't need that from me. You don't need to hear me. You knew. Okay. All right. If you're ready, I am ready. Pile number 2, the thread. Ooh. A little soup. My little snakes and snails and puppy dog tails soup that I got going on. What's that from? Sugar and spice and everything nice. Oh, remember? Okay. It's like little girls are made of sugar and spice and everything nice, and little boys are snakes and snails and puppy dog tails. I was a little girl growing up. They probably reversed it if you were a little boy, but that's the way I was told.
No, that's how it was for boys too.
Oh, it was? Yeah. Oh, that's sad.
But the Powerpuff Girls were Sugar and Spice and Everything Nice and Chemical X, and that really, juiced them really good.
Oh my gosh! Wow, Rachel May, thank you so much for the super chat. Oh, that's reminding me of a commercial from back in the day. And it's a Daisy May.
Jess knows what I'm talking about.
What? Oh my gosh. Oh yeah. Okay, here we go. Pile number 2. What are people scared of in regards of you? Okay, I'm getting that people have heard something about you that makes them scared of you. Who knows if it's true? God only knows. Okay, so why are people scared of you? I just kind of got a little bit of an attitude like, why are people scared of me? Oh yeah. Actually, this might like tie into some karmas that people have with you, where they like feel connected to you and they have this thread, but they have to kind of see through the haze. See like the haze and like the darkness here. So maybe some people are like in the dark about you, or they heard something maybe kind of dark about you, but it's not true or something. So yeah, it could have been, look, a riddle, and it could have even made them cry, or maybe it made you cry, or it's something here, it led to this tear. It led to like some kind of storm, because the tear here, it's a symbol for Ardra energy, because the emerald and the tear are symbols of Ardra, which is ruled over by Rudra, which is an earlier form of Shiva, who is the god of like destruction. So there could have been a lie told here, I want to say, or like some kind of gossip, and it's very karmic, whatever it is. It's like there's some kind of cord, but I feel like there's a person or multiple people that are kind of tied into this, and they have to follow the thread. But also, like, remember gym class? At least like in elementary school, we did a lot of climbing the rope, which actually I really liked. But, it's like, it's hard to like just dead lift yourself like up the rope and to try to do it like as fast. So it's like people have to lift their full body weight like upwards in order to kind of reach the truth. And they have to do it in the dark and like with this like haze. So I feel like there was something here. It was like a bit of a riddle. So that's why they're scared of you. And it could be because they're not necessarily scared of you. They could be scared about a group. Look, behind the mask is what just came out here. Hidden emotions, concealing the true self, afraid to show reality. No one sees the real me. I feel like that's the way that these people feel. But I feel like they're actually afraid of a group and the power of a very toxic group kind of turning on them. A group that maybe is single-minded about you or thinks a certain way about you or says certain weird bullshit stuff about you. It's like you can't win with this group. I feel like you would know what this is. And don't spend too much of your energy kind of thinking about it. I feel like you don't and you've kind of moved on. But so they could be scared of like losing you here, but they're scared of like the toxicity of some kind of group turning on them. A group that demands some kind of conformity in the way that they are viewing you. And so they're actually feeling really sad. And they're scared of maybe losing you. Look, secret admirer. This is a secret admirer. But actually, it could be more than one secret admirer. And that doesn't have to be in a romantic sense. It could be because it feels like a group of people. So they all have some kind of connection relative to you. I'm hearing relative. So this could be like your family or something. But they all have some kind of connection relative to you, and they actually really secretly admire you. And I think they even secretly admire the way that you've potentially handled this particular situation where maybe people are talking about you, but this is the kind of thing where you just can't win. You know, nobody views or casts is a word. Look at me. Casts. Nobody, like maybe you've just been cast into the role of like the Wicked Witch of the East, or the West or the North or the South. But, you know, that nobody has given you a fair shake. So there's a neutral way of hearing things. So it's like, I just feel like anything that you did or anything that you said, it was totally benign or it was totally neutral. And that was not the way. You're not given grace. You know, even it's like, ask some questions to clarify, like, oh, certainly they didn't mean that. And I feel like there's bullshit, genuinely bullshit is what I'm hearing from Practical Magic. Smells like bullshit. So they could have asked questions, but then they don't because this group is just determined not to like you. Yeah. And maybe like smiling in your face too, kind of a thing. Yeah, secret admirer. But also this says secret admirer too. Like there's a Roman numeral 2 after that, which I don't understand. Maybe there's secret admirer 1. This is a new deck for me. Andrea, thank you so much for the super chat. The hat. So yeah, they have hidden affection. Anonymous notes. They could even try to send you anonymous notes. You might not know that this person's interested in you or watching. It says someone's watching. So they could even admire the way that you've dealt with a certain situation of somebody like watching you. Oh, self-made. Independent success, overcoming odds. Overcoming odds is really standing out here. You like overcame some kind of odds. Creating your own path built from nothing. Yeah, creating your own path. And it's, again, this energy of climbing up the rope, like deadlifting your full body. Because this person knows where you came from, or these people, they know what you dealt with, where you came from. It is akin to climbing a rope, deadlifting your own body weight in the dark, covered in smoke. But for you, it's like surrounded by vipers, these kind of people that don't want you to succeed. The crabs in a bucket, where if you kind of try to do better for yourself, they all want to yank you back down. And they're not above using unethical means to do it because they're not giving you a fair shake here. But there's somebody here, at least one person, if not multiple people, can kind of see it. So they feel like they don't know how to get around. They're reaching for your hand, but they have to get around a certain person or a certain group of people and like these lies that have been told. So why else would these people be scared of you? Inner child. I'm kind of seeing like a witch, like kind of running around in the hat, like, oh, it's a child, like, you know, or, oh, it's like, you know, like, oh, is that a birthday cake? Or like, is it happiness and love? And like, you know, like it could be that somebody here is just like something about like your inner child, healing childhood wounds, reconnecting with joy, playfulness, restored, return to innocence. I feel like you bring this kind of energy, in here. Look, Secret Admirer 2 came out. This person is mostly scared of the connective energy between the two of you, of how easy it is to get along with you and like you're so playful and stuff. And so this would be a huge slap in the face. This would be some kind of like big betrayal here. And for this person to connect with you on such a childlike, maybe you were kids together or something, and then to side with these people or to be quiet, like, you know, in the face of it. So they could be just scared of the position that they've taken up. Secret admirer keeps coming out. This person wants you to know that they're secretly admiring you. They're secretly proud of you and the odds that you've overcome and maybe the person that you are, or yeah, that you, didn't let it kill your inner child, you know, that you still have this like joy and this happiness. And it really does inspire a lot of people, or it inspires this person in particular that doesn't feel like they can be themselves. And to see you be yourself, or to emerge yourself after something here that you have gone through is, yeah, look, behind the mask, this person's coming out again. Also, I can't help but notice the pink in the background here, because that came out in pile number 1. Look, plastic smiles. I feel like that's what you were up against. But it also could have been the lie that was told, but that would be projection. Because this person's scared of that group, the toxicity of this group, that I think wears some plastic smiles here. Because they know that this group was saying some mad shit about you and smiling to your face. And then crossing their fingers. And so that was like a lot, I think, for this person. They were kind of vicariously traumatized, where they were like, oh, okay. I remember being in elementary school, I had this friend. She had a cool name. I almost said it, but I won't. There's probably a lot of people with that name, but she had a crush on this boy, and he was like one of the popular kids or whatever. So I guess he found out, and one day we were all like playing out there, and one of his little friends came running up to her and was like, oh my gosh, so-and-so likes you, like he wants to ask you out. And she thought all of her dreams were coming true. She was like, oh my God. And then he was like, psych, you know, and then like ran off. And we were all just kind of like, we were all on the roller coaster with her. It was like, oh my gosh, like her dream is coming true. Like, wow, you like him so much, you know? And then he was like, psych, and then like ran away. And it was like so heartbreaking, you know? And I remember that, because I remember like, just know that that's a thing that can happen. Like a guy could say that he likes you, and he could just be laughing at you, and he could just be trying to hurt you. Like just that imprinted on my brain. And so I feel like somebody saw something like this happen to you. Somebody wore like plastic smiles. They pretended to be your friend. They were telling you like something, and then they were like, had their fingers crossed behind their back or in front of their chest. Yeah, fake kindness, forced friendliness, hiding resentment behind smiles, friends in name only. I think they're around somebody like that. But this group that behaves in such a way and doesn't want to own that, because if they owned it, they'd have to really look at themselves and transform that. That can be very intimidating. And you have to kind of say, I've been a piece of shit, which is hard for a lot of people to do. So what do they do instead? Projection. So they project this out on you, and they probably said like that you're fake, and that, you know, because I think that you're actually very childlike. So they're scared of like your inner child energy because of who they are. That's what I think this is getting at, that these people use friendliness and kindness as a mask to cover their dastardly deeds. But so they're afraid of your inner joy, your inner light, because it's so genuine with you. It's so authentic, and they don't know if they can trust it. And I think there might be something about you that is like elevated, or like if you wanted to be Regina George, you could be, you know, but you're not. And so I think like if you were Regina George, if you wanted to play that game, like you could kind of win. You could rally people around you, and better people, I'm hearing, or stronger people, or more people, or, you know, so they're afraid of it. They're just afraid of it. And there's no reason to be afraid of it other than they've misused it. They don't connect with kindness or friendliness or smiles from a place of innocence. They connect to it from a place of deep pain, I just heard, and darkness and shame. And it becomes a lethal weapon, I just heard. It becomes a lethal weapon. So then, yeah, rebound and spilled tea. Spilled tea. Oh, look. Okay, so secrets exposed, gossip spreading, leaked information. Oops, it's out. So I feel like somebody here may be afraid of maybe even information regarding their involvement with you leaking out, or like the way that they feel about you leaking out in this group. Ugh. Because this group is so toxic and will like kind of turn on them or make fun of them or laugh at them or treat them the way that they're treating you. But you're stronger together. And I just saw that scene from oh my gosh, the ragtag team of space adventurers. One of them's a raccoon. It's in the Marvel universe. Help me out here. Peter Quill. The pelvic sorcery. Guardians of the Galaxy. Yeah, Guardians of the Galaxy. I'm kind of getting, you know, at the end of I don't know, one of the movies with them in it, and they all they're holding on to one of the Infinity Stones, and they all are like holding their hands, because if you're mortal and you hold it, then you'll just die. But like all of you holding together against it, you know, can like kind of withstand. I feel like that's what this person was like meant to do, or these people. It's like, come grab your hand and you can all withstand the toxicity of this group. But I feel like they were just kind of afraid of it. They also could be afraid of some kind of tea being spilled, to you regarding their involvement in this group. I feel like they're just afraid of tea spilling just in general, because they have not been authentic, and they have not connected like from a genuine place. But I think this person maybe does feel the inner joy, that true light of like their inner child, and you connect there and you kind of like bring it out, and they're scared to lean into it because that feels so good, but there's an innocence, and you kind of have to trust the people around you. And this person has been in a fog is what I'm hearing. They've been in this kind of dark, again, with the rope, because I'm kind of getting like, now with the dark and the smoky haze, I'm kind of getting like a bar like scene, you know, where it's just like, it's hard to get out of. There's so many layers, you know, of like, there's the social pressure, and there's the drinking and like kind of not being in your full cognitive faculties. But then there's also the kind of like smoke, and you're inhaling it. All of it's so unhealthy for you. And then in that state, I'm seeing like a rope in the middle of like a hangout, like den or something, like from the 70s, you know how like you used to be able to like walk and then like step down into like those little hangout spaces. That's what I'm kind of getting, like they're hanging out there. And so they're even in a depression in relative to what this is. And then from there, they're supposed to then pull themselves kind of out, and they're afraid of it. And so in getting themselves out, I think they're afraid of certain tea spilling about what they've involved with in regards of this group, what they may have said about you getting back to you, because they're recognizing this isn't them, but they're afraid of it. They're afraid of like what they said getting out, or there could be afraid of what information somebody in this group or multiple people in this group have on them just in general, getting out just in general. Yeah, rebound. Temporary comfort, avoiding loneliness, quick replacement, just to forget. So that could be the tea that they're scared of getting out. And then look, this person having to tell you that they're so sorry, and that everything, I put the childlike energy back into the thing with the girl blowing bubbles where everything was happy. But then look at this, everything is sad, and everything is like muted. And I have no idea what okay, all of them have that. I was like, I don't know what the freaking looks like, the blood of the lamb over the door for Lent, you know, but they all have that on there. But yeah, it's just kind of like sad. Or they did something in order to get some kind of quick comfort, temporary comfort, some kind of rebound energy, or maybe like making you feel like a rebound. Maybe this group was like pushing them towards you as a rebound, but actually they fell in love with you because who wouldn't? You have like this beautiful inner child energy. So this, again, it's not so much like people being afraid of you. I think weirdly, if people are afraid of you specifically, they're afraid of your like inner child, how sweet and innocent you are, but it's because they have misused that energy socially. So this is a socially decrepit kind of group. And I think they are social, like, but it's antisocial at the same time. It's looks social, but it's really antisocial kind of sociability, if that makes sense. Where they just kind of like, and there's lots of ways that could be levied against you, but it's just not, it's not true. Glow up. Yeah. Glow up. I feel like this is you. So they're afraid of you because you've grown up. Self-improvement, finding your confidence, personal transformation, better than ever. Found your confidence. That little child grew up, glowed up, found its confidence, found their voice. Oh, interesting. There was some kind of divine intervention. They could be scared about that too. Like they can't quite, there could be something here that they can't quite piece together how you found out about something or how you know about something. And they could be scared of that because, again, with the tea spilling, you may have actually found out and they're like, how did that happen? It also could be that maybe they know that you're into tarot or that you're intuitive or something, and look, divine intervention. Because I do feel there has been some kind of divine intervention where spirit was like, get out of here. Come on. You don't belong there. Or thanks for being in that shithole with all the poopy poops. Like, let's just, pull you out of there. Unexpected guidance, universe stepping in, redirected paths, saved just in time. So there could have been something here where it's like you were saved just in the nick of time is what I'm hearing. Oh, look, inner child. Look, inner child came out. Again, healing childhood wounds, reconnecting with joy, playfulness restored, return to innocence. Because I think this group was trying to have a say. That's what it feels like. They were trying to have their darkness. They wanted you to believe a false version of yourself, but they wanted it to go bone deep, these people. And it feels subconscious. I'm not sure that there could be one person here because there is this like mastermind energy. I don't know if you can see it kind of sitting behind. See the hands at the bottom there and like that weird eye in the middle. It's kind of like a weird, I don't know, person that's trying to keep certain people apart. certain people from having a conversation or from being able to. And there's different ways of doing that, where they poison the well so much between two people that like you can't have a conversation that you need to have, or you can't talk from like this sweet, innocent place, because somebody here has just been so wrapped up in negative behaviors. But it feels like this group wanted you to believe a false version of yourself. They wanted you to believe that this was bad or wrong or fake in you, when actually it's bad and wrong and fake in them. They're using it. It's antisocial. It's anti-society. It's against society. It is like against bonds forming, like trust being there, which requires innocence and vulnerability. And we're all stronger because we're a social species, right? You don't get anywhere on your own. So that's what this group like folds people into, and breaks bonds and breaks souls and breaks spirits like at the same time, in order for somebody here to have control, or because it operates by control. So this is a group that kind of is like, they knock people down in their energy, and in order to feel like they have some kind of control, or feel like they get their hooks in people, or that people will never leave because they don't have any better options. So yeah, I feel like this is the key, actually, weirdly, to the unraveling of this group. And especially for whoever's like the mastermind, because everybody else here might just be weak or sad or addicted or like had a really hard time. But there's somebody here who I think is like a mastermind. They like power, but they have to keep themselves hidden in the dark. And so your inner child energy is the key to this, like being revealed that, oh, look, which would you rather be around? The inner child energy or the plastic smiles energy? And they tried to flip, like which was which. So I think they're also afraid of like some kind of divine intervention here. Oh, okay. So I feel like the divine is actually coming in for this person as well. There's several different people here. So like there's this mastermind energy, and I feel like they're afraid of you because you're the key to their unraveling. But there's also like a secret admirer energy is kind of sparse throughout this group, whatever this is. And the divine intervention energy has come down. Like now you've seen this. You've seen the folly in this. Like let me kind of lift you up out of this. So whatever path is opened up for this person, I think they're scared of that too. Like whatever that is. Look, sugar-coated. Sweet but deceptive words, empty compliments, hidden insults, too good to be true. They think they are too good to be true. It's because they're around, and they have been around this. So some people here don't trust this energy in you. This like sweet, they think that it's coming, that it's fake or something, but actually it's not. And some people need to look in the mirror is what I'm getting. Look, deep fake, convincing lies, altered truths, virtual deception, seeing is no longer believing. Yeah. So somebody here is afraid of their lies unraveling, their version of the world. Somebody here is like trying to control the frame. And yeah. So like you're very sweet, and sweet innocence, like as a child, but again, with that glow up energy, you have grown into a very confident, strong version of yourself that can be trusted, that knows the way or something. Okay, so why are people afraid of you? Retirement goals. So it says long-term stability, future planning, relaxation earned, and living the dream. So why are they? Oh, look, two-faced. Okay, these are people who pretend to be happy for you. Says one thing, does another. Betrayal behind kindness. That's the theme of this. Betrayal behind kindness. Pretends loyalty, trust carefully. So there could be resentment here. Oh, look, situationship. What are we? Yeah, unclear boundaries, mixed signals. Some of you may have, in your childlike innocence, called out this riddle. You're like, what is this? It's like, what are we, or what do you mean? Because this doesn't actually add up. And there's in your childlike questioning, and you don't have to be a child, but there's a certain innocence that you have to this person or this group, because they're just telling blatant untruths or something. So it's like, if you just ask, like, well, what do you mean by this or by that? And that's going to be their undoing. So they're actually afraid of your innocence, because it can't be framed. Not that they're not going to try, because I just wouldn't put anything past these people. They could be afraid of you getting away from them. is what I'm getting. That could be their fear. They could be afraid of you getting away from them because you're lifting yourself up and out of this. So there's a lot of different, there's like a prism energy here because there is a group and I'm seeing them all in this, like, again, that 70s style. I don't know what you call them. There's probably a word for it, but, and you kind of step down into the hangout spot and there's usually maybe a table in the middle, or there doesn't have to be, or just kind of like a group of pillows or whatever, but it's this kind of like depressed energy. So, they're just afraid of the truth being seen about them because somebody's innocence is so genuine. Somebody's connectivity is so genuine. Their playfulness, their spirit is so genuine. So somebody here is afraid that they're going to be found out and undone by this innocence of like, this doesn't make sense. People at the very least are going to start asking questions like, how could you possibly have come to that conclusion about this person? Question mark, question mark, question mark. Wild. Like, and it's a red flag for a lot of people. It's a flare going off. There's no way to kind of snake around somebody here. But they're also they're afraid of some kind of storm to come. Because of that, they're afraid of you leaving them, catching on to them, like a lie that they've told about somebody else, like some kind of riddle. They're afraid that you're kind of catching on and you're going to see them for what it is. But there's a soul contract here for somebody to bring this truth up and out, to go in whatever way they did to bring this truth up and out. Yeah. Fated connections, karmic relationships, gaslighted. Yeah. Reality distortion, emotional manipulation, questioning your sanity, or you're imagining things. Speak up. Yeah. Somebody here, like there's a karmic thing. So they're afraid of your voice. They're afraid of you growing in confidence and speaking up and saying, wait a second, I think that I've been messed with here. I think that you confused me here, you know? Yeah. Boundaries. Now, this is the kind of person, there's at least somebody here, you got to be careful because everything that you say, you know, everything. So I literally just saw everything that I'm saying to empower like this group of people. This nasty person will use it in a different way. But I think that there's something here where it's going to backfire because of who the person is that they're attacking and their quality of innocence. It could be that people have known this person for a long time, maybe since they were a child or something, but it's like there's something about that innocent quality where it's like, how can you not see somebody's innocence here? There's some kind of there's something about like this person or their position or something that people know about this person where it's like, of course, like, how could you think that? It's a stretch for you to believe that. And you have some kind of agenda. You are not coming from a neutral space. You have some kind of agenda to see that person in that way. Because it's like so not true. Boundaries. So yeah, somebody here is afraid of boundaries being put up, saying no firmly, protecting your peace, setting limits clearly. Enough is enough. They're afraid of it because somebody here is like pulling apart some kind of riddle. This could have been a riddle over a long period of time. Lies that somebody's told about themselves, lies that they've told about other people, that being all like pulled apart here. Pulled apart. Because there is somebody who is innocent, knowingly innocent. Like people will not believe you if somebody lies or tries to tell some kind of sugar-coated, there's some kind of situation where it's just, it can't be anything other than a red flag. Yeah. Cool. Yeah. So there's something that came through in a reading a while ago. It was innocence is the seed of nobility. And that's true for this group. That's ultimately what stirs up the fear. And that's a spell that I do too. Like, for like the goal setting and the prosperity, part of one of the spells is, innocence is the seed of my nobility. My own innocence is made known to me. That becomes my firm foundation, myself and others have perfect faith in. So it's just this, I understand my innocence, like where I am truly innocent of, innocence is the seed of my nobility. So, that's a gift for you as well. If you've been put through this kind of meat grinder, allow your own innocence to be made known to you. So, okay. But there's somebody here, I'm telling you, if you've been put through the ringer here, I just feel spirit kind of has maneuvered you or used you in this way. I do feel there's an agreement, some kind of soul contract. And it feels like maybe with spirit of like, look, these are souls that are very lost and wayward. And it could be because they've involved with a certain particular person who's a bit shisty in some kind of way. And they hide in the dark and they hide behind haze and they hide behind, get everybody all liquored up. And so they keep everybody confused. They know how to keep everybody confused rather than cut through like the bullshit, or they're really good with their the riddles, like kind of confusing people. And that's how they kind of keep people tied up and separate from each other. They know how to kind of keep people afraid of another person or of having a direct conversation with another person or something. And so somebody here is just their perfect blend of innocence, like to just go right in there and to kind of bust it apart or to get people questioning in the right way. They have the perfect background, the perfect blend of traits. Like, well, I've never even been to a Halloween party before. I don't know what is bobbing for apples, and they come from a different culture, and you know that they're telling the truth about that. You know, there's something here where it's like, of course this is the innocent party. Of course they couldn't have possibly machinated because of what we know about this person and their background. So if you believe it, there's an agenda for you to believe it inside yourself, and that's what people are afraid of. Yeah. Because there's some, yeah. Okay. Carry on, my wayward son. Yes. My mom was like, that thing that worked, go get another one. Oh, yay. Yeah, Jess's candles have this in them. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. Certain ones, because I have different spell blends that I like kind of layer up. But yeah, okay. Andrea, thank you so much for the super chat. For those that have been through this, can you do a spell for the lies to be revealed? I have a spell for that. It's in the it's in the truth serum or the protection candle or something like that. Yeah, I do have a spell for that. I'm not meaning to talk about my candles, although it is Halloween and like people do like to do like kind of rituals this time of year. And if you are interested in candles or like spell work or anything, the candles that I make, the ritual candles, so that's like what they're made of. Like they're spells that are spoken 3 times each into the wax as it's melting, as like all the wax is melting. And so we just kind of layer spells in it. And I have like a whole repertoire that I kind of go through. And that for me, I'm not going to tell you all the spells because people watch my channel and steal my shit. Like, let's just call it what it is. And it disturbs me to no end. I've seen certain things where I'm like, that's a little more than being inspired by somebody. You know, that's taking something. And so I give what I'm called to give and I give what I'm comfortable to. But I do layer like my spells into those candles, and I'm a very holistic thinker and I'm a very ethical thinker. And so if you trust that about me and if you know that about me, just know that that's how I approach spell work. I believe very strongly in not disrupting someone's self-sovereignty, and my spell work is that way as well. It's heavily focused on the self and tending to your own karmas, your own energy, your own auric field, that it is working with you and assisting you. And so if something needs to be straightened out or whatever, and it's not the way that you're thinking it is, like it's supposed to assist that, you know? So anyways, neither here nor there, but that's, and there is some dragon's blood resin that's always sprinkled on the top, which is kind of infuses and makes things stronger. So anyways, that's neither here nor there, but okay, so let us move on to pile number 3. I'll put this up there. Pile number 2 is the thread. We just finished that one, and we're going into pile number 3, which is the womb. These all look the same. Okay, no, it was I'm not confused anymore. Okay. Gloss. Sorry, y'all. Okay. If you're ready, actually, let's compassion. That lip gloss be poppin'. I just like wiped it off the corners of my mouth too, and it looked like that kind of fake blood stuff that you get in like the Halloween stores. And I was like, ooh, spooky. Okay. Let us move on to pile number 3, the womb. Ooh. Okay. Thanks to Alex for all the special effects today. Okay, so pile number 3. Why are people scared of you? Oh my gosh, Spirit's got you. Oh, interesting. Protection, signs, you're guided. Some of you have a protector spirit, and that's kind of why they're scared of you. They kind of know that you're... Actually, I'm leaving this over here to the side. Conflict resolution. Interesting. So why are people scared of pile number 3 spirit? New energy for pile number 3. Ooh, I felt something like in my solar plexus. It's kind of like butterflies almost, like, but like kind of afraid that there's going to be a shock. Like, oh, I'm running into this, but I'm it's probably a bad thing, but I don't know that it is. Okay, so for pile number 3, why are people scared? Pile number 3. Maybe this isn't the right, let's see. Oh my gosh, I just heard that song Endless Love. Like, you're my endless love. Okay. Pile number 3. What are people scared of in pile number 3? Oh my gosh, the lovers. I'm kind of getting that. There's this fear of like, of the attraction that they feel for you, and like that the lover's energy. They're scared of like that. Why are they scared of it? The Knight of Swords. And the 10 of Pentacles. And then like, so somebody's like writing messages here. They're trying to write certain things, but it all feels kind of small. Like they couldn't put it into words or something. Yeah. They kind of feel muzzled, like they can't express themselves. And then like, look, this Knight of Swords is swallowing the sword. So like swallowing the sword of truth. So they're afraid of this like lover's energy here. They're afraid that maybe you have the key to something, but maybe they're scared that this is going to cause some kind of argument. I don't know if that's between the two of you, or it could be between, their family with the 10 of Pentacles. Like maybe their family, or like some kind of like rooted situation. Why? Because they have some kind of responsibilities, or so they might feel like, I don't know why. This doesn't have to be a third party situation. For some, maybe this is somebody just with a lot of responsibilities and they don't want to be distracted or something, like in the workplace, or and they're maybe afraid of people judging them, or you judging them, or their apology, or their message for some of you, or like their emotions. This is kind of a complicated one because there's so many like loving feelings, and it's weird to tap into the love, like how much this is like just love. Like just, I feel butterflies when I'm around you and I'm happy and I want to send you like this message, but then also like the fear of that. And it feels like that kind of nervous, anxious fear, that kind of tension of like, should I tell my crush that I like them? So why is there like so much fear that's coming out? Maybe somebody doesn't feel like they are good enough for you, or that maybe they feel like they got a long way to go. And that could be in something like to do with their, towards the Hierophant energy, towards like marriage, or maybe for some of you, this person could be in another situation. And if they leave that situation, they're going to leave with not much. And then they've got like a long way to go to kind of be able to offer their heart to you, is what I'm getting. In a way that feels like worthy of this connection or happy. They feel like they've got to climb up something. Or it could also be, though, to do with their career or something. They feel like they've got a long way to go. Why is this person so scared? I'm not even sure that this is you putting this on this person. I think that somebody here just maybe thinks really highly of you, and they feel like they want to be deserving of you. Why are you out here scaring people? I'm kidding. I'm joking. The King of Swords and the High Priestess. I think it's the secret that they have a crush on you. So, okay, so this could be a group that's very attractive, And this is somebody who's maybe trying to keep it a secret that they have a crush on you or something. Or people feel this way around you. Like, can you tell that I have a crush on you? Okay, because they could feel like they're in and out of some kind of devil energy. And they're trying to heal from it, but they have a long way to go. I also just heard the word recovery. So this person may have like some kind of recovery that they have to make or go through. This could be anything. This could be financial recovery. This could be related to like an illness or an accident that this person got into, or like addiction, or even like emotional wounds, possibly maybe from another situation that they're in. They just feel like they've got a long way to go. And they know exactly what it is. And they feel like that's Luna. Oh my gosh. Luna saw me in this hat and was freaked out. Like, she was like, and then she realized that it was me. So that's like the kind of fear. And maybe it's because, like, I don't know, you like look a certain way. Snatched. That's what I just heard. I don't know. And so they have to kind of realize that like you're you. But so Luna is like the moon, right? So it's like their emotions, and that was such a cute little like like she's known for that. But yeah, so I feel like that's the case. And so this person feel like they need to exit a fantasy or exit a dream, but this doesn't necessarily feel like about you, because I think that they have like the butterflies about you. And you know, butterflies aren't always a good thing. I think like when you get butterflies, because I don't know, I kind of have this joke in my own head about like, well, when you feel the butterflies, it's because you're about to get shocked. Like, it all feels like very electric, and it's like, because that person is about to shock you. But in this case, it feels like this person feels like maybe confessing their feelings is a shock, or pursuing their feelings for you is a shock, that they're interested, or I don't know. So maybe they're comfortable in a fantasy about you, but I think they're feeling that they need to actually build something for themselves, like plant those seeds, water them, tend them in some kind of way. Yeah, this person, there's maybe even somebody watching this person so that they don't slip up. This could again be a part of a recovery program or something here. Maybe you're a part of this. So why is this person afraid of you? Maybe they're scared everything's going to fall apart. Just like I said about the electric. It's like, okay, well, I'm so attracted to you, but the butterflies in my stomach, I'm just scared like that they don't mean something. Like, what are you going to do to me? What are you going to do to me? And I feel like, you know, we on this channel, we process through a lot of hefty emotions, but just as a reminder, not everybody is going to hurt you. Not everybody's going to leave you. Not everybody's going to treat you the way that whoever we've been processing through treated you. Like, that's, you know, one, or maybe it has been a repeating cycle, and you're getting to the bottom of like why it's been a repeating cycle, but it's not everybody in the world is kind of like that. So it could, because this feels happy and it feels healing and it feels like promising. Like, not everyone you love is going to leave you. That's a quote from a movie. Not everyone you love is going to leave you. And maybe that's what this person's recognizing is, I need to be that person so that I'm not running around gifting people trauma. Yeah, or like being a fool or something here. So why is this person scared of you? I think they're in a weird way with this womb energy. They're scared of like the seed that what this could grow into, like of the 10 of Pentacles, of the, you know, like, yeah, they're scared of like the whole process, you know, of maybe starting this new life or something here. They're also scared of communicating. Yeah, they're scared of betrayal. I don't think this has to do with you specifically. I mean, if it does, you know, if you have history or something with this person, but I think maybe a lot of people find you attractive or something, or, and with this Riddle card, this is kind of like, this could be somebody trying to find something wrong with you, you know, like, I always tell you guys this story, but, it's a good one where, there was something that I like felt like I needed to bring up to Alex like early on in our relationship. And so I brought it up because I like to just pull the cord really early because I'm an avoidant. Okay. I test secure in my relationship now, but I'm a fearful avoidant and the cat's out the bag. But so I just like to pull, and then I can like kind of calm down. So it was kind of that situation, and I just kind of expected it to go that way. But instead, when I like brought up my concern or like what I noticed, he just very calmly was like, "Oh, I never looked at it that way before. I'm so sorry." And then literally never did it again. And I was so mind fucked by that. Like he wasn't trying to, but I was so used to being like played with or like mind games, or I was not used to someone just simply like seeing something from my perspective and having empathy with me and really like understanding how that must have made me feel, and then like reflecting that back and having like a healthy exchange about it. I was like, you're not gonna gaslight me, you're not going to like undermine me in any way. So I feel like for some of you it might be like, okay, well, this is a person that I'm really attracted to. What's the catch? What is the catch here? I'm mind forking myself because like this person is just yeah. So I feel like maybe this person did something weird, or they did something like that was a betrayal to you, or it caused some kind of blockage in your relationship. And this person is like, I'm realizing now that like I was really in my head. I am used to being like mind forked by people. And so I like kind of got all confused, but actually it was a very straightforward situation. And, so it could even be something here like that. They're scared of having a new beginning because it feels like maybe this just is going to take off. It's very passionate, or there's like a lot of energy here. Also, you might have a lot of energy in a good way. Like you're exuberant, or you're like happy, and it's like, but they also, if this is somebody that did you wrong because they were like confused in their head, they're like, I don't know, I'm getting I feel like this person was maybe getting mixed signals. Cause again, like I'm thinking back to, okay, I find Alex to be extremely attractive. Like he's just like really, really attractive. So there's this like very attractive person that's just being the nicest person that I've ever met to me, and also being very reasonable. And it was giving mixed signals, not because he was giving me mixed signals, but it's like, I'm just like, aren't you supposed to be like horrible? Like, aren't you supposed to be playing games with me? But no. And so I feel like there's mixed signals going on here, but not because you're sending mixed signals, it's because this person, his mind is all like, so it could be that they maybe did something that put some kind of restriction, like at least in your mind, where you're like, no, or they betrayed you in some kind of way. It feels maybe like, well, actually, I don't know. It could have been avoided. I just heard it could have been avoided. But then they're like, how do I write out a message to this person? Because they know that they want this new beginning, and they know like now all the butterflies are coming back, and they're like, oh my gosh, that was real. Oh my gosh, that was real. It's this kind of like scary kind of thing. Yeah. And so I feel like it has caused this person to do some kind of reflection about themselves on their fears. Like, what are you afraid of? Is that I'm hearing, what are you afraid of? What are you so afraid of? You're not supposed to be afraid of fun things. You're not supposed to be afraid of beautiful things, about things that are going to bring good things in your life. So what are you afraid of? And it's like 10 of Wands. They're afraid of turning some kind of corner, taking some kind of responsibility. So it could be, though, in this message that I'm getting, because this person wants to send you a message, or they've like, I think kind of written and deleted it. But I also think that this person maybe wants to like hit you with like a text message, like, hey, what's up? Something kind of like light and not an explanation of something that may have gone on here. So they're scared of that. They're scared of maybe taking responsibility, because also they might wonder if you know fully about it, or if for them to take responsibility, they have to own up to the fact that they betrayed you, and they have to maybe open up and tell you about their being like mind forked and like the riddle in their head, and that they're so attracted to you and everything. And like, I just heard shut up, like this person's like, shut up, okay, like you're attractive, okay, you're attractive and fun. So they're just like scared of that. But I also think that they're scared of kind of like turning a corner, and this feels like a big corner. It feels like a corner in their soul, but they feel really drawn to it, and they feel really happy at the same time. So this person is kind of feeling like that. 9 of Pentacles. They could be afraid of being alone. So if this person has to take responsibility for something, and I'm kind of wondering if this overlaps with pile number 2, and maybe that like toxic group, or maybe they have like some kind of other situation. It doesn't have to be another situation like they're in a relationship, or it could be family, because there's like, I'm getting that 10 of Pentacles energy, very hefty, very rooted kind of energy, taking responsibility for maybe the way that their family acted. For some of you, their family acted pretty badly. I don't know what that's about. I feel like there's a lot of movies like that, though, like rom-coms. Oh, Luna. Luna had to go bother Alex. Yeah, so they're afraid of that. They're maybe afraid of being alone, or they're afraid of being cut off. I don't know if you can hear Luna. Yeah. So they're afraid of that, of having like the burden. So for some, like maybe this person feels like if they chose, I don't know. This is very Romeo and Juliet. It's very like, they're just afraid. Just look, the 10 of Pentacles again. They're afraid of making a permanent decision here. Because what if they can't live up to it as well? Or like, they feel stuck. This person feels kind of just stuck, but it's like under the weight of their emotions. Because they're in some kind of groove, or they're in some kind of routine, and I think it has to do with money. Or like stability or something. They're waiting for the right time. They're worried about getting that wrong. This is a person who's trying to be the mastermind. And that might be a part of their healing if there was overlapping with person number 2, because that, or like pile number 2, because remember there was that negative mastermind energy. And so I feel like pile number 3 might have to get into their mastermind energy in order to understand karmically that other person, to be able to be like, oh, you were really thinking through some stuff. Now that I'm thinking through some stuff, I'm realizing you were thinking through some stuff, so that could be a part of it, but also just in order to step into their own, like maybe leadership or something here. So why is this person so scared of you, or why are people in general scared of you? Because you represent competition for some of you. But this is the kind of thing where like you're in the Knight of Pentacles energy. And so you're building, like you're a builder, and you just are one foot in front of the other, and you're very much focused on yourself. And so to you, you're not ruffling any feathers like intentionally. This is kind of the pile of having an effect on people that you're not intending to. So like, again, the mixed signals where you're like, I'm not trying to send you mixed signals. I'm trying to be healthy in my communication. But there's something about like again, your physicality, you're very attractive, or you're very lively, or, people like to be around you. And so people have a certain expectation of you where they're like, I think you're supposed to be a player. No, correct me. Like, or something like, or you're playing games. But also in your career or whatever you're doing with your Knight of Pentacles, you're just trucking along. And some people see that as a threat. They see that as some kind of competition. They want to burn it down. Kind of in a sneaky way. But I feel like there's maybe justice for that. That could be another thing that these people are afraid of, getting some kind of karmic justice. Because maybe a King of Swords, some kind of authority seeing that in some way. Yeah. And leaving some kind of fantasy behind. That's kind of, again, overlapping with pile number 2 and a little bit with pile number 1 is what I'm getting as well. So I'm very dehydrated. Does that help? I'm a reformed arsehole too. I love that. I loved like reformed asshole energy because it's not boring at the very least. And also it's authentic, and it says a lot about a person. Okay. So maybe this is kind of part of the message because I like immediately latched onto that. So that's kind of a reference to, I've told you guys that on my vision board, that was a part of my own journey where I would recognize that I would get the things that I was asking for, like in a person or in a partner. But finally I was like, I'm bored. Like, I think that and I was like, well, I can't go back to dating assholes, So it was like, well, what about a recovered asshole? Do those exist? Like, refurbished of some kind, And so that way, and you tap into so many good traits because they have to be self-aware, they have to be self-driven, they have to potentially like pull themselves, kind of all the things that we cover here, they have to pull themselves away from like harmful groups, which means they have leadership capability. They have yang energy, right? They're not afraid to go against the crowd. So like, I feel like maybe that's this group. Like, this could be reformed asshole energy, but it actually, so while you maybe have like a chip on your shoulder about that, about like, oh, well, I haven't been perfect or whatever. Actually, there's a lot of traits that to be a reformed asshole is really impressive, and it actually makes you more attractive and actually having better partnership skills and not less partnership skills. Okay. Anything else? Why people are they're afraid of where you're going. They're afraid that you're going to ruin their plans. Some people are afraid that you're going to ruin their plans that maybe they have like worked towards or something here. They've been putting all their little ducks in a row or, but they're keeping an eye on what you're doing. Are you going to come over here for maybe a new beginning or something? They're afraid that you're going to like upend their apple cart. Thank you, Jasmine. The good team got me out and slapped my face and put me right. Good. Yay. I think that's kind of like some version of that happened with all of us, where it's like, I think I've been on the wrong path. I did find him, I think 14 years ago now. I just found him along my way, dusted him off, and no, I'm kidding. I'm joking. Okay, anything else? I feel like it's for good reasons that people are scared of you, and it's because of they're wondering how you being this like positive force or gaining for yourself is going to intersect with their energy. But in a way, it calls people out of their Seven of Swords energy. So this is maybe the train of reformed assholes that also inspire other people to be reformed assholes, where it's like, yeah, I realized that I wanted to make something of myself, or I realized that I wanted to try, and like, or go down a different path, or really challenge myself. What am I so afraid of about that, And some people are like, where's that going to go, Yeah, there's a cling. People are scared of like a cling to an old cycle for themselves, I think. Can I live up to that? I'm hearing like, can I live up to that? Yeah. They're afraid. Okay, so going back to whoever's like attracted to you, they're afraid of things stagnating. And I think it's because, remember I said that somebody here feels like they got a long way to go. So they want to keep making steady progress in that in order to kind of get to you. And I think that they're afraid of things kind of stagnating. Yeah, they're in their head about it. Look, there's some kind of couple here, and I pick up on this energy, this like toxic couple. So this could be somebody's parents, or this could be, maybe it's a relationship that they're in for some of these people, but oh, okay, I get it. They're afraid. Okay, some of these people, they're maybe afraid of like this couple's influence, whoever it is. But if they stepped away and they actually distanced themselves, they could be afraid that people are going to find something out about this couple, or that they would blame this couple, that certain truths. So this could be a weird situation where somehow your presence and this person being on the path to you is possibly revealing something about a negative group, which I feel like is Spirit's plan. I just heard Spirit has a plan. And I feel like that's part of Spirit's plan of like, yes, because then the shame goes where it needs to. Then the consequences and the burdens go where it needs to, where it's actually teaching somebody lessons. So for some of you, so karma, we love to say, at least I do, I love to comfort myself with thinking, karma is teaching us lessons. But, when somebody betrays you, it's, there could be something here where it's like they're wrapped up with that couple or like that group where it benefits them in some way. And this has maybe gone on in past lives. So this couple has kind of persuaded somebody over near them to take their side, to participate in whatever. And so that leaves everybody else out high and dry. They get betrayed, they get fucked, they don't get what they need. And so if people do the healthy thing and start moving away, it feels like a betrayal to the family, but this feels like a mafia family, And so there's a weird kind of love-hate thing here, because they're karmics and they're not to be around each other, but they have been around each other. And their relationship is built on lies and shared secrets, and that feels like intimacy to a lot of these people. And then they feel like, well, wait, I'm a betrayer. And the key is they absolutely are. They're a betrayer for what they did to you. But it'll come out that they're a betrayer, and they'll get their karma, and they'll kind of have to be faced with it in regards of this like negative couple or like this negative group here. And so this feels like a big decision to kind of finally go on their correct path, which feels like towards you. So it feels like a big thing. And maybe they've been dragged upstream quite a ways and they've got a long way to go. Somebody here seems to understand and see and know and think, man, I got a long way to go to get back on my original path, like to be around my original soulmate. And with the Lover's energy, that's Gemini energy, and it's a group of people too. So to be around my soulmate friends, like, and soulmate and karmics, for me, the way I use those words is because everything is karma all the time. But when you are living out your karmas and you're aligned well with the energies that we kind of fold into, with spirit, and you're not going against that in any way, right? Which creates karma. If you do the wrong thing, I don't like thinking about it this way because I think it confuses people, but just to oversimplify it, if you do kind of the wrong thing, that you only do the wrong thing because there's something you don't know or understand on a deep level. And so that provides a classroom via the karma and the obstacle that you have created by going off the wrong path, but then you kind of get back on the right path. So, and that also is karma. But soulmates are, if you're learning your lessons, your life merges with your soulmates and you are headed in the right direction, at least for a time, like you're headed together. Whereas a karmic, when you understand the situation clearly, you move apart from a karmic because it's not meant or good for you to be around that person, like in your soul's overall journey. Does that make sense? So yeah, this person's like, for me to get back on my soulmate path where I'm around soulmates and my soul, like whoever I'm supposed to be with, and that's going to take me a while. And I have to get rid of this. I have to cut this out. I might have to be alone for a while to kind of walk away from this, so that, because I don't think Spirit's going to put anybody near them to get potentially sucked into this shithole. So, they've got to be strong in a lot of ways. And that's their karma, for having involved with this and thinking that this secrecy, darkness bullshit is intimacy. And so they've got to get their own victory. And I think that's what's like, it's more, and again, an intimidation rather than a fear. You might, for some of you, something that you do for work might be intimidating, or the way that you are at your job, which is maybe very lively and kinetic and intuitive, like kind of like you don't have to be reading tarot cards for tarots. You don't have to be reading all these tarots out here. But yeah. Okay. So anything else? Yeah. This is somebody who has like a little lip that they've got to, kind of like Moana, she's got to get her boat over the lip to get out to the ocean. This person has to get over a certain lip here, which comes in the form of the life that they've created. And this feels to me like it's strung back lifetimes. Like this person's, whoever this karmic couple is, this parents, or maybe this is a couple that they met like along the journey, but they have to disentangle themselves from that couple in order to fully realign with you on their soul path, their soul journey. And they're nervous. They're like in their head about it. They're anxious. Some of these people maybe need to stop drinking. Yeah. Drinking to socialize is kind of what I'm getting. They might need to learn how to be of service, or they might have to like work a harder job because they could have been promised the job, or like they have some kind of ease because they partnered with this couple, but it wasn't of their own karmas. Like they just took the easy way out. They took the devil's cup, basically. This is an opportunity or a path that was offered by like the devil, but it comes with hooks, So, so they're scared of like kind of overcoming that. So I think I'm going to leave that there because we were kind of all over the place with this one. So I hope you can just take what resonates with you there. Oh my gosh. Oh my. I'm dead. Highest compliment where I live. So true. Light of Love says we all have different definitions of assholes and assholish behavior anyway. I think we have a pretty much same definition where it's like, but it just depends on where it's directed, because sometimes you can be like, yeah, that person deserves it. Ha ha ha, But it's kind of, I think true wisdom is like what's good for the goose is good for the gander. And if you don't want to be treated a certain way, you have to kind of like oppose it in a certain way. And I also think that our culture has forgotten how to have good fun. Like our culture has associated fun with being a jerk, or like not like following rules or anything, instead of like more pro-social, like, well, it's a joy to treat people well. It's not because I'm enslaved or anything. It's because I understand fully the consequences of my actions, and I empathize with the way that there's no place that's other, So like me making you feel bad makes me feel bad, So I think it's like, oh, well, I'm going to be bored. And it's like, why would you be bored? Do you lack creativity? Because there's plenty of fun things that you can do. But when you're stuck into a capitalistic system, not to be that person, but just like, and you have to slave away for at least 8 hours every single day, then it's not like you can leave and go take a rock climbing adventure. That might be fun, but our culture and life is not set up to where most people can just do that. You have to be rich to do that, And then what are you willing to do for that? So it's a hierarchical system where it's like, well, what are you willing to do for it? Yeah. It takes a little dash of asshole to effectively navigate this crazy. Yes. Well, and I also think that it's like learning when to, I do think that there is a time and a place to be an asshole, actually. But I don't, Which is why everything gets so confusing. Because you have to stand, like, I don't know. You can rebel in a correct way, Confusing. Star says, if people could just respect others' journey and not judge each other, it would be wonderful. Yeah, but also I think it's helpful to judge people. We have a massive problem with people doing weird stuff to kids. Judge the fuck out of those people publicly and loud. That puts social pressure on them. So again, it's like, it's so hard to say like, one thing or another. I think it's everything. I think that's one of the hard things about being on the spiritual journey. It's about learning how to use energies in a way that is best, in a way that's for the highest vibrational good of all beings, but there is certainly judgment that is harmful and that, it's not correct, like in pile number 2. Yeah. A bit tougher. Yeah. I mean, yeah. You get healthy judging. Yeah. Well, and also like when you judge yourself, there's healthy judging too, because you can say, I judge that this is not the person that I want to be, and this isn't healthy. And so I am saying once and for all, like I'm passing a judgment that this is something that is not good for me to engage with. This is a negative coping mechanism, or this is a negative, that's a judgment, and judgment, that's the Pluto card, right? So that's a place where power comes from, and death energy and transformative energy. That can be this beautiful place of power and transformation, even on a collective level, like the example that I used earlier, where there's apparently a lot of people who, for some reason, are engaged in this very strange, very terrible kind of like behavior. And so when you judge them, and that initiates pressure and power and transformation. So it's just a matter of how we use these things, which makes it hard to kind of see your way through the world, Nikki, thank you so much for the super chat. Getting so behind, but wanted to contribute to fancy witch hat maintenance and insurance costs. My darling Vesica. Loves the Cubs. Thank you. Yes. Yeah. Healthy judging is like choosing who is healthy to be in your circle. Yeah. The other thing too, because I give myself such a hard time on this too, like with what I do, because I've been on this journey, and a lot of you have been on this journey with me, where like I am a goody two shoes. Alex is not lying when he says that. Like I really absorbed all of the conditioning that growing up white female Christian in the Midwest of America during this time period had to offer. I really was that kind of energy until I realized that I'm just like it's like doormat energy. Somebody just taught me how to be a doormat, and I'm really not, actually. I am a very opinionated person, but I'm also a very good person. And I learned that I could trust that goodness inside of me to kind of carry me forward, and that I would always like be looking at the things that happen in our world, and I'd be like, who is like saying that this is wrong? I wish somebody would stand up and say, and it's like, why can't you just say that it's wrong? Well, my religion, I'm all bound up in this like kind of weird way. Like, well, I'm supposed to be nice, or I'm supposed to just let that slide. And I do think that there's a lot to be said for that, of being cooperative and kind of knowing when is the right time or the right place. And all of it is this delicate balancing act. And I don't think there's such a thing as perfect. I think there's just a way that we affect people, and just kind of, I don't know. Life is hard. And and actually this is something that I feel like, in leaning more into me being able to just say like, I disagree with this, or like most of it is cheating, like betrayal here, where it's like, no one should be cheating. That's a jerk move. Not to say that people don't cheat for a variety of reasons, and they're not like the worst person in the world, but it is wrong to cheat. It's wrong. Like there's ways, abuse outside of it. But if you're truly in an abusive situation and you're cheating, you are really putting yourself at risk for death or something else. So if you're really in that situation, cheating is, maybe it is an act of self-harm. I don't know. But like outside of that very extreme scenario, yeah, it's not a good thing to cheat. If you're unhappy, talk about it, work through it in therapy. If, or end a relationship before you start another one. And those are hard things to do. And it's like, you don't just jump right in and get swept away. But a lot of times, like if you actually take the time to work through stuff, you realize that you were just enticed by that in order to blow up your situation anyway, instead of having to confront it in a more mature way that might benefit everybody. So I feel like it's okay to kind of like hold people accountable. But I'm saying all of this to say that I think one of the things that I don't think that I do the best job at is like the world really is not dichotomous. It's not black and white. There's a lot of nuance. And I believe that like wholeheartedly. And I feel like that's for us to do the work on ourselves, because this channel for me, it's about helping us to do the work on ourselves, you know? And so sometimes it's like, yeah, that person should not have done that. That is a wrong thing to do. And that's maybe kind of as far as spirit is like wanting us to even take that in our mind. So how do I cope with the fact that I was treated in this very unfair way, that I was betrayed behind my back, you know, that I wasn't looped into the conversation? Like, how do I deal and process with that? That's where like that power comes from, I think, and the healing comes from. Yes, that was like a jerk move, because I also think that especially like as women, we're taught like, you know, well, you just have to be kind and compassionate to everybody. But then a lot of times that's at the expense of ourselves, you know, about being kind and compassionate with like that person just dumped a whole bunch of stuff on your plate and you're not neutral about it. And that's your truth. You're not neutral about it. And it might be too much of an ask to ask you to be neutral about it, you know? And that, does that make you wrong? And I don't know, like, because you can't be neutral when, I don't know. It's all very a lot. And I'm glad that we can have these conversations like as people, and we're all kind of figuring this out together. Like, I love kind of thinking about that, like all over the world, we're all just kind of like trying. What I think is admirable about like this particular group of people and like what the work that we do and like the conversations that we have is that we're all really trying to be the best people that we can be, and like kind of open to being like, I don't know, or like I went down this road, because I've been really thinking about that a lot, where it's like I really let the asshole like slide a lot, you know, where I'm like, this is just an asshole, you know? And I've been thinking a lot about that. And part of me wishes that maybe I could reel that in a bit more. And then another part of me is thinking maybe not. But I had a thought the other day, well, it was more like an inspired kind of thing where it doesn't have to be perfect overall, but perhaps it's like perfect for now. And Spirit was reminding me like my pathway like out of Christianity, and how I definitely don't believe a lot of the things that I believed then, or that I was like kind of struggling with, but me grappling with those concepts or, you know, things like that was perfect for me then. I couldn't have grabbed the 7th rung on the ladder without first grabbing the 3rd rung. And so that again ties back into being process oriented. And I think that ties in with our concepts of karma that needs to be kind of like pointed out, is as we're unfolding karma, like it's a process. We are in process, and every single moment is not about sticking the landing perfectly like at the end. It's about getting to an end result where we feel like we can breathe and we've undone like all those ties that we've kind of put on ourselves, and that we can flourish like, you know, the way that God made us, which I feel like is powerful and creative and like alive, you know, with like movement. It's not this kind of like I have to be like entirely perfect. But like I was saying earlier, where I kind of knew that I could trust my own inner goodness, I had that realization kind of early on, like, well, I am a good person. I know that I know for a fact, and I'm not trying to convince anybody else of this. This is my own personal business. I know for a fact that I am very well-intentioned. I am a good person. I'm a very well-intentioned person, and I can trust that to guide me through anything. So I might mess up, but the thing that's important to keep intact is that inner goodness, that inner, like and neutrality as well. I'm okay with being neutral and like balanced. And that's the thing that I want to trust. And if I want to act in a way that is positive in the world, it's not so much obsessing about my actions. I feel like this is important. It's not so much about like becoming OCD about my actions. Oh, should I have done this or should I have not done that? It's just focusing back on like that inner heart space. Like, and that will allow you to have some space for self-forgiveness as well. Well, I'm positively intentioned, but I am a confused person pretty much most of the time. And, you know, I'm in this weird planet where I'm surrounded by other people, their attitudes towards me, their life experiences and their decisions all affect my path and my life and the information I might have at any given period of time. And it's kind of like a lot to deal with, but how can I just kind of keep, like, be a centered person? You know, like, how can I be strong in my own center in spite of that? And I think that's something that I would be very proud of if I felt that mostly I was able to do that, like, throughout my time here, you know? Due process. Yeah. And it's just, yeah, everything's just unfolding in a process, you know, and just kind of, I don't know, engaging with that in a way that is conscious and aware, but open and flexible at the same time, and having that kind of level of self-forgiveness. And I think sometimes, depending on who you've been and what kind of socialization factors have been placed on you, it is important for you to go through a period like the grieving process. Anger is a part of the grieving process, and especially women. And I think, other groups too, but I just know that's like where it seems to come from in my conditioning. You're not allowed to be angry. If you're angry, you're called a lot of other things. It can't just be because you are human, you went through something hard, you're having a natural emotion, and anybody would feel that. You're called a lot of other things, or there's a lot of other assumptions. And I do feel like there's been a kind of leg of our journey here where we have together kind of sat in our anger, and we've been able to love each other through it and say, despite the fact that you're angry or you're pissed off, or maybe you lashed out, like I can still see like your goodness and you're hurt, and you're grieving. Something that kind of I hear in the background that I don't think I've actually pulled forward in the readings is, please don't mistake my anger. It's hurt. I'm hurt, and I'm grieving this, and I'm angry because how dare you treat me in such a way, or how dare you, now I have to deal with this, it's grieving. All of it is just, it's grief, and we're constantly going through that grieving process, and it's hard, and it can be kind of revolutionary, and it is an act of taking. Grieving is such a Pluto word, right? Pluto ruling over power as well. So, and endings and death and transformation. So we're kind of taking our power back in saying, no, I'm not going to put too much pressure on my natural emotion process, Aubrey, thank you so much for the super chat. Thank you for being such a good influence role model for us. Fledglings, dear. Hey, fledgling crew. I am a card carrying member of the fledglers. Yeah. Well, thank you. And yeah, because I think our natural emotions are their information. Because my therapist, every time I've gotten into therapy, it always circles back around in some way. And this is with different therapists, by the way. So it always circles back to feelings are not facts. They are data. They're important, pieces of data and information. So it's important to be aware of that. I'm feeling angry, but it doesn't mean that it has to lead the way, because I might be angry over something that doesn't make any logical sense. So the way for me to address that is to address my perception or my worldview, but still feel my anger and allow myself to process through that, instead of, if I just allow my anger to lead the way, it's going to justify me lashing out, or, and so all of it is a very complicated mess. And this is the art of being human. And, sometimes we might be able to master it and then fall kind of right out, because I just feel that everything in life is alive, and you're going to have moments where you're like, yeah, I'm doing a pretty good job at keeping the balance. And then something else is going to come in and you're like, well, now I'm learning how to deal with this. And all of it is just this beautiful dance of being a person, and just love yourself through that. Especially if you know for a fact, again, my own innocence is made known to me. That spell, my own innocence is made known to me. That, well, I am innocent. I wasn't trying to, and that can't be said for a lot of these people that you're dealing with, because some of these people are trying to throw a wrench in it in order to garner power. So it's different. It's a different approach to power. And so we're not supposed to, I think a lot of us too have been taught that good people throw out power. They don't pursue power. But if good people pursued power in a way that a good person would pursue power, maybe the world would look a bit different, And so I think Spirit might be preparing some of us, I'm kind of hearing that, to take our roles in society and to take on certain things and to actually challenge back sometimes. And we're starting to see that more and more, just so that we can all feel a bit more safe. I don't know. That was a little Halloween sermon. Forever student, yes. I just go with whatever is arising in a moment. Yes. The study of healthy power. And I think I needed permission to, even my own power, just to take my power back. And part of that is just being shirking my conditioning and being no, actually you're a jerk and you're an asshole and I'm not budging an inch on it. You're a jerk and you're going to say you're sorry, or you're not, but I'm not going to be around you. That's all me taking my power back. And not everybody's in the same position as me. And I've kind of noticed that in doing personal readings where I'm oh, I can tell that our place of engaging with the readings is not the same. And this, you have to look at it from an entirely different angle, than me. Then I would have to look at some of the lessons that kind of come through, And so, I don't know. So me taking my power back, somebody who is already fully empowered, but maybe needs to be more ethical with that, their path is going to look much different than mine, and their engagement with healthy power. So I'm reading Trust Your Mind. Interesting. Okay, so that was a kind of a general message, but should we try to see if Spirit has any general messages for us to come through? Maybe I'll put my lip gloss on. When power has been so misused, it is a new world to find how to wield power healthily in my own way. That's very well said. Yes. Justice woman, it's going to work out the way that it needs to. Okay. Maybe God is wanting to spend some alone time with you on your flight in utter silence. No, I'm kidding. I'm joking. Okay. So let's see. What wants to come through? Teamwork, love. Okay, Spirit, what do you want to say? Angela just said, I don't intentionally give my power away. It gets manipulated and controlled in tricky ways. So alertness is the key. Yes. And that is like also conditioning too. Because I know like I sometimes will hate myself because I'm like, oh, I did it again. But it's like I've been so conditioned and socialized that I'm supposed to be a certain way that it just kind of naturally like slips from me. Oh my gosh. And I'm getting this, okay, so there was this guy and he's an older guy. And he really like sabotaged me intentionally on purpose in like the first big job that I had. So I was really just trying so hard to like be the best manager that I could be. And he was like a play expert and like a communication expert. And he was like on campus or whatever. He was also twice my age and had a crush on me, but I tried to set him up with my mom. The whole thing was weird. But so anyways, I was like, we always did like these play kind of things, you know, like he would bring these parachutes and stuff and like to our team meetings and stuff. And it was kind of fun, but everybody was feeling like very frustrated. And by the way, it was a middle manager. So they were feeling frustrated over stuff that I really had no control over, but it was my job to like hold people to certain standards. Because anyways, there was this one particular thing where there had been a lawsuit threatened, but it's like, so it wasn't coming from me, but I was kind of getting the blame and I was like struggling with how can I communicate? Like, I don't have a say over this. Like, you know, so anyways, I tried to bring him in and then he was like kind of weird about the whole thing. Anyways, like took power that he didn't really have. And he was trying to, anyways. So I see him like later on, like about like a year later. And immediately, because I'm just like who I am, as soon as I see him, I just smile and I'm like, oh, hey. But then he was kind of like being a dick because men are allowed to be a dick more. And then I hated myself for that because I didn't really mean, hey, it was just like natural instinct for me to be happy and open and friendly, like whenever I saw somebody. So maybe that's like part of the message but it was just such a part of my conditioning, you know, and like, and then I just like hated myself over that. Look, someone's forgiven you. Letting go, spiritual release. I feel like spirit is helping us like forgive ourselves and like over little things like that little things that feel like a self-betrayal around conditioning, like our conditioning and socialization. And there is a message coming out on the channel that has to do with culture that I feel like this maybe ties into. Things that are like not so self-direct. Okay, so I just heard too, like this is another hard thing to factor in when we're thinking about karma, but not everything that we do is self-directed. This is another thing to kind of like consider. Like so much of it is propensity, momentum, where it has to do with like the cultures that we're a part of, like our family culture, but also like broader cultures, our national culture, our you know, whatever, but it's like a kind of propensity where we're kind of indoctrinated into that. And then those things kind of have a momentum of their own. So that I feel like is supposed to propel you towards some kind of like self-forgiveness. Look, guidance. Spirit is trying to guide us through that. Faith, healing, intuition, dreams, and a spiritual journey. You might be getting dreams or like some kind of intuition here. Red flags. Caught. Yeah. So again, it feels like it has to do with like culture or conditioning that has us acting in a certain way, that it keeps people's red flags hidden, that if you shirk the conditioning of your culture or like your indoctrination in some way, then it actually catches people out in their red flags. So I'm hearing, okay, this is crazy. I just heard like you were taught that it was morality, that like certain things were moral. That's like not really a moral issue, or it's not about morality. It's more about preference. But who are you taught them by? It's like, it kind of keeps the status quo, or it keeps like certain people in power, or it keeps certain things like buried or hidden. When if you start to kind of shirk it, you were taught that you were bad, like that you were doing something sinful. but it's projection. Like, I think like something else is going on sinful, that if you actually shirk that kind of conditioning, it does kind of reveal it. So be very careful about, I'm hearing playing into cultural or social scripts. It's not that you throw the baby out with the bathwater, but this is, they call this deconstruction. Like when people leave the church, for instance, like going through a period of like deconstructing your beliefs. That way you don't throw the baby out with the bathwater, because there's a lot of helpful things that you probably did learn in whatever, religion that you were like kind of brought up in, but being able to say, well, okay, I don't believe this, but I believe that, so some kind of like deconstruction with, this feels like with social cultural expectations, social cultural norms. And this is helping you to like get in line with your own authenticity. Yeah. Lessons learned. So forgiving yourself that there's been some kind of lesson learned here, that you corroborated. I'm hearing you corroborated with some kind of script, but that maneuvered you in a certain way so that someone could potentially hide something or get away with something, but they're going to get caught here is what I'm getting. Either by you, because you're going to see if you shirk your cultural conditioning and you act in a way, this is pile number 1, right? The snake energy that moves in a way that's like deft but unexpected. It might actually like bring something out. Look, lesson learned. Tough times, growth, leveling up. So it's going to be hard to maybe shirk some kind of cultural expectation here. But there's, and then maybe picking up some kind of unfinished business. There is like somebody proposing here. So maybe that is like shirking some kind of cultural norm is you're being able to do that and to, in and of yourself, decipher what feels right for you to be able to shirk it. Don't just shirk it for the sake of shirking it. You get what I'm saying? Like don't just like be a rebel without a cause, it's like, just if something feels right, like you just still do it. Cause I think we've all seen people like that too, where it's like, they're just saying no because you suggested it or the church suggested it, but it still would be the right move for them. Like, don't be that kind of person. I feel like there may well be some level of evil eye or envy. It's something here is maybe meant to keep you in line, like keep you in a certain line or and you might actually connect with like your own high value energy with that. And it'll help with your self-worth or like, that's maybe a karmic path to kind of like go down here. But, Beth, nice. Yeah, you're stepping out of the shared fantasy. And by doing that, people are confronted with their costume. Like on Halloween, we point out that the emperor is naked. That is so beautifully said. I'm going to read it again. You're stepping out of the shared fantasy, and by doing that, people are confronted with their costume. Like on Halloween, we point out that the emperor is naked. And this feels like on a collective level, stepping out of a shared fantasy, because shared fantasy is what narcs do, right? But can you have a shared fantasy that is like a shared hive mind, like delusion with the culture? I don't like using these words because I feel like a certain group has used them and made them nasty. But like, is there some kind of shared fantasy? And if you, that's like of a collective, and you're taught that if you do this or if you do that, that things were going to kind of work out for you. But I just heard that's why so many bad things, that's why something hurts so much. Like a lot of people have a story of like, well, I did everything that I was supposed to. I graduated high school and then I met my spouse and then we have a house in the suburbs and he still cheated on me or I'm still unfulfilled. And it's because that was a fantasy. There was some kind of like shared fantasy, but you were programmed or like convinced to kind of harvest your energy towards it, like to pursue that instead of maybe pursuing something else. I don't know. Look, toxic love. Patterns, addiction, manipulation, and dysfunction. And the word dysfunction is really coming out here. Some kind of dysfunction. Yeah. So, I don't know. I don't mean this all in like the woo-woo way that all of these words are very loaded that I'm using. And I just want to draw attention to that. They're very loaded and I don't mean them in the loaded way. I mean them in a pure neutral way. And I resent the fact that I cannot use certain words without it having a certain kind of connotation. I'm trying to use very specific words. And I do think I've noticed that too, where it's like the propaganda era that we live in, where so much is like about propaganda and image management and stuff. Like I just don't like it. Deconstruction of the synthetic web net. Yeah. It is, and you are not speaking the script. Okay. Yeah. So that I feel like, yeah, that's maybe the next step to finishing like some kind of unfinished business. Some of you have prayed or asked for that. Like, I don't know. So it's cultural. But like I said, there's another message that's coming out on the channel that I just kind of channeled, and it was surprisingly clear, although maybe it wasn't, but it seemed clear to me. So anyways, I'm going to leave that there. Thank you guys for spending some time with me on this Halloween. I hope you have a lovely Halloween, whatever it is that you are doing. And I will see you when I see you tomorrow. Oh, we also have a live stream tomorrow if you're on Patreon. And it's what should you reinforce within yourself is what we wanted. So I'll see you guys tomorrow at the same time. Those of you that are on Patreon, we sell candles. If you're interested, we'll drop the link in the description. We also, I mentioned the ritual candles, but we also have scented candles as well. We have like fall scented candles, so that are pretty hot right now. They're pretty popular right now. So, okay, thanks so much for being here. Thank you for the super chats and for your wonderful positive energy. And I'll see you when I see you. Bye, guys.